You ever wonder why your life feels stuck? Why you wake up, go through the motions, and it feels like nothing changes, like you're on repeat? Let me tell you something that might sting a little. It's not bad luck, it's not the economy, it's not even the people around you. The real reason you're not successful and why your life feels boring is because of you. Now, before you roll your eyes or get defensive, sit with that for a second, because deep down you already know it's true. You know there's more you could be doing, more you could be becoming, more you could be experiencing. But you're not. And that gap between what you're capable of and what you're actually doing, that's where the frustration lives. That's why you feel stuck. The truth is, your life is a reflection of the choices you make every single day. And if you're bored, if you're unsuccessful, it's because you keep making the same easy, safe, predictable choices over and over again. You've built yourself a cage, and the crazy part, you're the one holding the key. So here's the question you need to start asking yourself right now. If nothing changes, if you keep living the same way for the next 5, 10, 20 years, are you okay with that? Can you live with that? Or does it scare you to think you might waste your one shot at life playing it safe, staying comfortable, and never finding out who you could have really been? Because if that thought bothers you, even a little, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to hurt, but it's also going to wake you up. Comfort is killing you. Let me say that again, so it sinks in. Comfort is killing you. You think you're living because you've got food in the fridge, a roof over your head, and Netflix queued up at night. But what you've really done is built yourself a padded cell. You've created this little bubble where nothing challenges you, nothing scares you, nothing stretches you. And you call that safety. You call that stability. But it's not, it's a slow death. Most people confuse survival with living. Survival is doing just enough to get by, to make sure the bills are paid, the lights stay on, and the routine doesn't break. Living is uncomfortable. Living means you put yourself in situations where you might fail, where you might look stupid, where you might even fall flat on your face. Living is when your heart beats faster because you're stepping into something bigger than you. Comfort robs you of that. It numbs you. It convinces you that as long as things don't hurt, as long as you're not struggling, you're doing fine. But fine is just another word for average. And average is not where greatness lives. Think about your own day for a second. You wake up, maybe hit snooze a few times. Why? Because the comfort of those extra minutes in bed feels better than the discomfort of starting your day strong. You go to work, do the same tasks, have the same conversations. Why? Because it's comfortable to do what you know, even if you hate it. You come home, grab something easy to eat, sit on the couch, scroll on your phone, or binge a show until you're half asleep. Why? Because it's comfortable. That's your life on repeat. And you wonder why you feel bored. Here's the reality. Comfort zones are prisons. They don't have visible bars, but they keep you locked in. And the worst part, you're the one who built it. You put up the bars every time you said, I'll start tomorrow. You tightened the lock every time you chose easy instead of hard. You decorated the walls every time you settled for less than what you wanted, because it was safer not to try. The cell is cozy, sure, but it's still a cell, and you've mistaken safety for freedom. Do you know why you admire people who've done incredible things, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, leaders? It's not just because of what they achieved. It's because deep down, you know they chose discomfort. They woke up when they didn't want to. They kept going when it hurt. They risked being laughed at. They risked failing in front of the world. And that makes you respect them because part of you knows that's what you're not doing. Let me give it to you straight. Your body, your mind, your potential, none of it grows in comfort. Muscles don't grow unless you push them past their limit, until they tear and rebuild stronger. Your mind doesn't expand unless you challenge it with things that make you feel lost and confused. Your character doesn't sharpen unless you go through situations where you want to quit. But don't. Comfort keeps you exactly where you are. Same paycheck, same body, same thoughts, same life. If you want change, you've got to step into the fire. But here's the problem. Most people wait until they're forced out of comfort. They wait until life slaps them across the face, a layoff, a health scare, a broken relationship, before they realize I can't keep living this way. Don't wait for that. Don't wait for life to shove you off the cliff. Jump. Because if you don't choose discomfort, discomfort will choose you. And when it does, it's gonna hurt a hell of a lot more than if you'd chosen it yourself. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying comfort has no place. Rest is important. Recharge is important. But the problem is, you've turned rest into a lifestyle. You've turned comfort into your permanent state of being. Comfort should be a reward, not a default. Earn it. Push yourself so hard that when you finally rest, it feels deserved, not stolen from the time you should have been building. And ask yourself this: when was the last time you did something that scared you? When was the last time you walked into a room and felt like you didn't belong? When was the last time you failed so badly it burned? If you can't remember, that's the problem. You've been playing it safe so long you've forgotten what it feels like to actually live. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two versions of yourself. One keeps choosing comfort. They keep hitting snooze, keep avoiding risks, keep doing the bare minimum. Fast forward 20 years. What does their life look like? Same job, same complaints, same frustrations, just older, heavier, and more tired. That version of you dies with regret. Now imagine the other version. They chose discomfort. They put themselves out there. They pushed through fear, faced rejection, failed 1,000 times, but kept going. That version of you. They built something. They lived. They die with stories, with experiences, with respect. Which version do you want to be? Here's the bottom line. Comfort feels good now, but costs you later. Discomfort feels hard now, but pays you later. Every time you pick comfort, you're choosing to stay the same. Every time you pick discomfort, you're choosing growth. And the truth, you already know which one you've been choosing most of the time. That's why your life feels boring. That's why you're not successful. Because comfort is your drug, and it's keeping you sedated. So here's the challenge. Get uncomfortable. Do something every single day that makes you nervous, that makes you sweat, that makes you want to back out. Train yourself to crave the hard road, not the easy one. Because once you do, everything changes. Your body changes. Your mindset changes. Your opportunities change. Your life stops being a loop and starts being an adventure. Comfort is the enemy. Discomfort is the way. And if you can't learn to embrace it, you will never know what you're truly capable of. Let's talk about excuses. The little stories you tell yourself, the justifications you repeat over and over again, the reasons you use to explain why your life isn't where you want it to be. You say, I don't have time. You say, I don't have money. You say, I don't have the right connections, the right education, the right background. Then maybe you've even convinced yourself those things are true. But let me be brutally honest with you, they're lies. All of them. Excuses are nothing more than lies you've created to protect yourself from the truth that you're not doing what you could be doing. Excuses feel good in the moment because they give you a way out. They let you off the hook. They make you believe you're a victim of your circumstances instead of the architect of them. If you can convince yourself the game is rigged, then you don't have to play. You don't have to risk failure. You don't have to step into the unknown. You get to sit back, fold your arms, and say, see, it's not my fault. But here's the reality. Every time you do that, you hand your power over to something outside of yourself. You're saying, I'm not in control. And that is the biggest lie of all. Let's dismantle the most common excuse, the one I hear more than anything else. I don't have time. Really? You don't have time? The truth is, you have the same 24 hours in a day as everyone else. The difference is not time, it's priorities. You have time to binge a season of your favorite show. You have time to scroll endlessly on social media. You have time to gossip, to complain, to do all the things that don't move your life forward. But when it comes to the work that will actually change your situation, suddenly the clock is empty. Be honest, it's not that you don't have time, it's that you don't want it bad enough to make time. What about money? People love to use money as an excuse. If I had more money, I'd start that business. If I had more money, I'd get in shape. If I had more money, I'd invest in myself. But here's the truth. It's not about money. It's about resourcefulness. There are people who started with nothing, literally nothing, but they figured it out because they refused to accept that excuse. They found free resources, they traded skills, they worked jobs, they hated to fund the dream they love. Meanwhile, you've got people with everything handed to them who waste it because they're soft. The difference is not money, it's mindset. Connections, education, same story. There are people who grew up in broken homes, in neighborhoods where no one believed in them, with zero guidance, and they still made it. Not because they had the perfect start, but because they didn't allow their start to become their excuse. They stopped saying, I wasn't given enough, and started asking, how can I create more? That's the difference. Successful people see excuses for what they are, lies. And unsuccessful people, they defend those lies with everything they've got, even though deep down they know it's costing them their future. Let me tell you why excuses are so dangerous. It's not just that they stop you from taking action today. It's that they become your identity. When you repeat the same excuse long enough, it becomes who you are. You become the busy one, the broke one, the unlucky one, the one who can't catch a break. And once that identity sets in, you stop even trying to change. You wear the excuse like a badge, and that's how people waste their lives, defending their excuses instead of building their potential. You know what's really crazy? Most excuses don't even stand up to the smallest test. Imagine putting your excuse on trial in front of a jury. Would it hold? Would 12 people agree that you didn't have time when they can see your screen time report? Would they agree that you didn't have opportunities when countless others started with less and found a way? Would they believe you couldn't do it when you never even really tried? No. They'd see it for what it is, a weak defense for not showing up. Let me be very clear. Life doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't care about your excuses. The results you want, the body, the career, the relationships, the freedom, none of it responds to excuses. Life responds to effort. Life responds to persistence. Life responds to action. Every excuse you make is just another reason to stay exactly where you are. So what do? You stop lying to yourself. You get brutally honest. Instead of saying, I don't have time, you say, it's not a priority. Instead of saying, I don't have money, you say, I chose to spend it on other things. Instead of saying, I can't, you say, I won't. It might hurt to say it out loud, but that's where freedom starts. Because when you call an excuse what it really is, you take your power back. Now it's on you. Now you have a choice. Here's the truth. Excuses will always be there, ready to comfort you, ready to let you off the hook. But so will opportunities. And the opportunities don't wait for you to stop making excuses. They pass you by. Every time you say, not today, someone else says, today, and they get what could have been yours. Every time you say, I can't, someone else says, I'll figure it out, and they build the life you wanted. The clock doesn't stop just because you're lying to yourself. Excuses are the chains you wrap around your own ankles. You put them there. You lock yourself down, and the only way out is to admit it. Stop defending your limitations. Stop rehearsing the same tired lines. Stop choosing the short-term relief of an excuse over the long-term reward of action. Because the truth is, you don't need more time, more money, more luck, more anything. You need less excuses. So the next time you catch yourself about to say, I can't, stop. Ask yourself, what if I could? The next time you want to say, I don't have time, ask yourself, what if I made time? The next time you want to blame circumstances, ask yourself, what can I do with what I have right now? That's how people break free. That's how people win. And until you make that shift, no motivational speech, no strategy, no plan is going to change your life. Because nothing changes until you stop lying to yourself. Excuses are self-made lies. And the only way to live a life that's worth something is to stop making them. Motivation is overrated. Everyone talks about it. Everyone chases it. Everyone waits for it like it's some magic fuel that will suddenly make their life better. But let me tell you the truth. Motivation is a liar. Motivation is unreliable. Motivation shows up when it feels like it and disappears the moment things get uncomfortable. If you're relying on motivation to carry you to success, you're already finished. Because the people who win in life are not the ones who feel motivated. They're the ones who are disciplined. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll do it when I feel ready? How many times have you told yourself, I just need to get motivated? And how many times did that motivation actually last? Maybe you saw a video that fired you up. Maybe you read a quote that gave you a little spark. Maybe you got inspired watching someone else succeed. And for a few hours, maybe even a few days, you were on fire. But then what happened? Life, distractions, fatigue. The spark went out, and you went right back to your old patterns. Because motivation is a temporary emotion. It comes and goes. Discipline is a decision. It's consistent. It doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is the reason some people get up at 5 a.m. and train, while others are still sleeping. Discipline is the reason some people read, study, and build their skills while others scroll through TikTok. Discipline is the reason some people keep showing up, day after day, even when no one's watching, even when they're tired, even when they don't feel like it. And in the long run, discipline will always outwork motivation. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people decide to run a marathon. The first is motivated. They're excited, they're pumped, they buy all the gear, they post about it online, they train when they feel like it. But the first rainy day, they skip. The first time their legs are sore, they say, I'll rest and get back to it later. Weeks go by and their motivation fades. By race day, they're not prepared, and they either don't show up or quit halfway. The second person, they're disciplined. They set a schedule. They follow it no matter what. Rain, sore muscles, busy days. It doesn't matter. They don't negotiate with themselves. And by race day, they're ready. The difference between the two: discipline, not talent, not resources. Discipline. The same thing applies to every area of your life. You want to get fit? Motivation might get you to the gym for a week. Discipline keeps you going for a year. You want to build a business? Motivation might get you to brainstorm ideas. Discipline keeps you grinding through the boring, repetitive work it actually takes to succeed. You want to improve your relationships? Motivation might inspire a grand gesture once in a while. Discipline makes you show up every single day, even when it's inconvenient. Motivation starts the engine. Discipline drives the car. And let's be real, discipline is hard. Discipline means doing things you don't feel like doing. Discipline means saying no to comfort, no to distraction, no to the easy road. Discipline means forcing yourself to act, even when your mind is screaming at you to stop. It's not glamorous. No one applauds discipline in the moment. There are no fireworks, no instant gratification. That's why most people avoid it. But the payoff? That's where the magic happens. Discipline compounds. Discipline builds momentum. Discipline creates a version of you that doesn't just rely on fleeting emotions. You become unstoppable because your actions are no longer tied to how you feel. Think about the greatest athletes, the best performers, the most successful people you admire. Do you think they're motivated every day? Of course not. They're human, just like you. They get tired, they get lazy, they feel doubt. The difference is, they act anyway. They lace up their shoes, they get in the gym, they put in the work, no matter how they feel, because they know that feelings are temporary, but habits are permanent. Here's the ugly truth most people don't want to face. If you only work when you're motivated, you'll never achieve anything extraordinary. Because the biggest opportunities, the biggest breakthroughs, the biggest wins, they don't come wrapped in comfort. They come after days, weeks, months of grinding when no one's clapping, when no one's cheering, when it's just you versus you, and the only thing that gets you through that is discipline. So how do you build it? You start small, you stop waiting for motivation, and you start keeping promises to yourself. You say you'll wake up early? Do it. No matter how tired you are. You say you'll hit the gym? Go. Even if it's the last thing you want to do, you say you'll work on your goals for an hour. Sit down and get it done. Every time you follow through, you're not just getting the task done. You're training your mind. You're teaching yourself, I don't need to feel like it. I do it because I said I would. That's discipline. And once you build that muscle, it changes everything. Ask yourself this. How much of your life have you wasted waiting to feel motivated? How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, because today you didn't feel it? How many dreams have you buried because you were waiting for some magical wave of energy to carry you forward? Stop waiting. Stop lying to yourself that motivation is the answer. The answer is discipline. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the fire. Motivation is the Instagram quote. Discipline is the late nights, the early mornings, the sweat, the grind. Motivation is easy. Discipline is hard. And that's why it works. If you want a life that's more than average, if you want success that lasts, if you want to stop being bored and start actually living, you have to stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Discipline doesn't quit when it's inconvenient. Discipline shows up every day, no matter what. And that's the difference between the life you want and the life you have right now. Discipline. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck, living boring lives, is because they're terrified of what other people will think. They're afraid of looking stupid. They're afraid of being laughed at. They're afraid of failing publicly. And so instead of taking risks, instead of chasing their dreams, they play it safe. They hide. They water themselves down so no one notices them too much. They live a life that looks acceptable to everyone else, while inside they feel restless, frustrated, unfulfilled. That fear of judgment is running their entire life, and they don't even realize it. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to try something, but stopped because you thought, what if people laugh at me? What if they say I'm not good enough? What if I fail and everyone sees? And so you didn't do it. You stayed quiet. You stayed small. You convinced yourself it was smarter not to take the chance. But here's the truth. Every time you do that, you're not protecting yourself from failure. You're guaranteeing it. Because the only way to truly fail in life is to never try. Failure is not the enemy. Failure is feedback. Failure is the teacher that tells you what works and what doesn't. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you can count. They've been rejected, laughed at, doubted, underestimated. The difference is, they didn't let that stop them. They understood that failure is part of the process. But most people, they're so terrified of failing once that they never even start. And that's why their life never changes. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. People are already judging you right now. Whether you play it safe or take risks, whether you stay quiet or speak up, whether you try and fail or do nothing at all. People are judging you. That's what people do. So if you're going to be judged either way, why not be judged for doing something that matters? Why not be judged for trying? Why not be judged for actually living instead of hiding? The truth is, the people who judge you, the people who mock you, the people who laugh when you stumble, they're not the ones living bold lives. They're the ones sitting on the sidelines, doing nothing. Because people who are actually doing something with their lives don't waste time tearing others down. The critics are always in the cheap seats, and yet you're letting them control you. You're letting their opinions weigh more than your own dreams. How insane is that? Here's the reality. You can't avoid judgment. You can't avoid failure. But you can choose what they mean to you. You can choose to see judgment as proof that you're doing something worth noticing. You can choose to see failure as progress instead of defeat. Every time you fail, you're one step closer to figuring it out. Every time someone criticizes you, you're proving you're not invisible. And isn't that what you really want? To matter? To make an impact? You can't do that hiding in the shadows of fear. Let me give you a picture of the two paths you face. Path 1, you let fear of judgment control you. You don't speak up. You don't take risks. You don't chase the dream. You keep playing small so no one has anything negative to say about you. Fast forward 10, 20 years. Where are you? Exactly where you started. Same life, same frustrations. And here's the kicker. You still get judged. People will still find something to say. And you'll sit there with regret, realizing you wasted your shot trying to please people who didn't even matter. Path 2, you embrace the fear. You say, yeah, people might laugh, yeah, I might fail, but I'm doing it anyway. You step into the arena, you fall, you get back up, you fall again. You learn, you grow, and eventually you win. Not because you never failed, but because you never quit. And the people who judged you, they'll still be on the sidelines, still criticizing, still doing nothing. But now they'll be criticizing while watching you live, the life they were too afraid to chase. You need to stop giving so much weight to other people's opinions. Ask yourself this: whose judgment are you so afraid of? A coworker you don't even like? A stranger on the internet? A family member who never went after their own dreams? These people don't get to live your life for you. They don't wake up in your body. They don't go to your job. They don't carry your regrets. So why are you letting their voices be louder than your own? The day you stop living for their approval is the day your life changes. The day you stop trying to avoid failure and instead embrace it as part of the journey is the day you start actually living. Because fear will never go away. Judgment will never stop. Failure will never disappear. But courage is moving forward anyway. And that's the difference between a boring life and an extraordinary one. So here's the challenge. The next time you feel fear, do it anyway. The next time you catch yourself worrying about what people will say, remind yourself they're already saying something whether you act or not. The next time you think, what if I fail? Flip the question. What if I succeed? What if this works? What if this is the thing that changes everything? You don't get to escape judgment. You don't get to escape failure. But you do get to choose whether you let them define you or whether you let them shape you. And the moment you stop letting fear run your life is the moment you stop being average. Because judgment doesn't kill dreams. Failure doesn't kill dreams. Fear does. Every single day, life gives you a choice, easy or hard. And whether you realize it or not, the quality of your life is built on those choices. Most people keep choosing easy. They take the shortcut, the quick fix, the comfortable option, and then they wonder why their life feels empty, boring, and stuck. Let me tell you right now, easy choices equal a hard life. Hard choices equal an extraordinary one. Look at the pattern. You choose to sleep in instead of getting up early. Easy. But the hard part comes later, when you're behind, stressed, and stuck in the same cycle. Year after year. You choose the fast food instead of cooking something healthy. Easy. But the hard part comes later, when your body breaks down. When you're tired all the time, when you look in the mirror and don't like what you see. You choose to stay in a job you hate, because it's safe. Easy. But the hard part comes later, when years of your life are gone, and you realize you sold your potential for a paycheck. On the other hand, the people you admire, the people who live lives worth talking about, they chose hard. They chose early mornings, extra hours, tough conversations, uncomfortable growth. They chose to say no to the things that would have been easier in the moment because they were playing for the long game. And now they get to live a life that looks easy from the outside. Freedom, success, opportunities, because they paid the price up front. You need to understand this. The hard road is not a punishment. The hard road is the path. It's where the growth happens. It's where the breakthroughs happen. It's where the version of you that you've been dreaming of is waiting. But you'll never meet that version if you keep settling for easy. Easy is the trap. Easy feels good now, but it robs your future. Hard feels painful now, but it pays you back 10 times over later. Think about it like this. Imagine you're carrying 2 buckets. One says easy on it. The other says hard. Every day you pour your energy into one of them. If you keep pouring into the easy bucket, it fills quickly. You get instant results, a little comfort, a little distraction, a little pleasure. But then it empties just as fast. Nothing lasting comes from it. If you pour into the hard bucket, it feels slow, heavy, frustrating at first. It doesn't seem like it's paying off, but over time that bucket fills with things that actually matter: strength, skills, resilience, success. And eventually it overflows. That's the bucket that changes your life. But most people never get that far because they can't get past the discomfort at the start. They want the reward without the work. They want the results without the sacrifice. And that's why their life never changes. They don't understand that the things that are hard today are the very things that make tomorrow easier. And the things that are easy today are the very things that make tomorrow hard. Look at your own life. Where have you been choosing easy? Where have you been settling? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your relationship. You keep taking the easy road, avoiding the gym, avoiding the difficult conversation, avoiding the risk of going after what you really want. And you tell yourself it's fine, but deep down you know it's not fine. You know the easy road is costing you. You feel it every time you go to bed restless, every time you look in the mirror and see someone playing small, every time you catch yourself daydreaming about a different life. That's the price of easy. Now, imagine what would happen if you started choosing hard instead. Imagine if you actually did the things you've been avoiding. Imagine if you had the courage to face the pain, the struggle, the discipline. At first, yes, it would be tough. But little by little, you'd get stronger, you'd get more confident, you'd start seeing results, and eventually the hard things wouldn't feel so hard anymore. They'd become who you are. And that's the shift. The moment you stop being the person who avoids hard and start being the person who chases it. Do you know why so many people die with regret? It's not because they failed, it's because they never even tried. They kept choosing easy until it was too late. They kept saying, I'll do it tomorrow, until they ran out of tomorrows. And then they look back and realize the hard things they were avoiding were the very things that would have made their life worth living. That's the tragedy of choosing easy. You don't get another life. This is it. And every day you choose easy, you waste another day. You'll never get back. Stop lying to yourself that you can get extraordinary results with ordinary effort. Stop pretending the easy road will somehow take you to a destination it's not even connected to. If you want success, fulfillment, freedom, purpose, you're going to have to go through hard. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is no way around it. So the question is simple. What are you going to choose? Are you going to keep taking the easy road that leaves you frustrated, bored, and regretful? Or are you finally going to choose hard? The road that tests you, breaks you down, and builds you back stronger than you ever imagined. Because that choice is yours. Every single day. And the moment you start choosing hard consistently is the moment your entire life begins to change. The truth is, the hard road is not really the hard one. The easy road is. Because living with regret, living with wasted potential, living with the knowledge that you never gave it your all, that's the hardest thing of all. So choose wisely. Choose the road that actually leads somewhere. Choose the road that makes you better. Choose hard. So here's the truth you can't run from. The reason you're not successful, the reason your life feels boring, is not luck, not circumstances, not the people around you. It's you. It's the comfort you keep clinging to, the excuses you keep repeating, the lack of discipline you hide behind, the fear of judgment that controls you, and the easy choices you make day after day. That's it. That's the reality. And the beautiful part? Because it's you. It means you have the power to change it. You don't need permission. You don't need a miracle. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect. You just need to decide right now that you're done living small, that you're done choosing easy, that you're done lying to yourself. One day you're going to die. That's not meant to scare you. That's meant to wake you up. The clock is ticking, whether you move or not. And when that day comes, when your time is up, the only question that will matter is this. Did you play it safe or did you go all in? Did you live a life that was comfortable, predictable, and forgettable? Or did you live a life that was bold, uncomfortable, and unforgettable? No one else can answer that for you. No one else can live it for you. It's your choice every single day. And the truth is, you already know what you need to do. Stop hiding. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Step into the hard. Step into the discomfort. Step into the fear, because that's where your real life begins. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. Success was never out of reach. It was always waiting on you to stop settling. So make the choice. Choose the hard road. Choose growth over comfort. Choose courage over fear. Choose discipline over excuses. Choose to live fully, unapologetically before it's too late. Because the only thing worse than failing is never finding out what you were truly capable of.